Hey everybody, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering an old Walt Disney classic, Lady and the Tramp.
Now this classic animated movie follows Lady, a cocker spaniel whose comfortable life slowly slips away once her owner has a new baby. She also meets the streetwise mutt Tramp. Oh, he's not a mutt.
Why did I say mutt?
Whom she befriends and later falls in love with. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification to get updates on future podcasts and more pause videos.
Yes, and this video is actually being done because of Sylveon. She's like, how can you not have done your namesakes? So we finally have done Oliver and Company and Lady and the Tramp.
Yes, at long last.
Yes.
And we saw this one not too long after we saw the live action version.
For the umpteenth time.
Right. And, you know, it had come out quite a while ago on Disney Plus, but we didn't have it, so we weren't able to watch it. So we said, hey, let's watch both the original and the remake to see how we feel about both movies again.
And we own the animated one.
Right. And it's good because, unfortunately, the animated one is not allowed on Disney Plus, along with a few others. So I'm glad that we own the DVD.
Yes. This movie, of course, we know you had to have seen it by now. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's endearing, it's sweet, it has a little drama, it's a slice of life, there's so many different things all in one movie.
Right. And of course, you love seeing the characters of Lady and Tramp. You also love Jock and Trusty. And pretty much a lot of the characters are just very endearing, and you still remember them. It's one movie, well, two if you want to count the direct-to-DVD sequel, but still, if you hadn't had that sequel movie, this one movie alone made everybody very memorable.
Now, Lady, as we mentioned, is sheltered. She was gotten as a puppy, and she's been sleeping in the bed with her owners, and she loves the attention, and then they have a baby. And she doesn't know the difference. She's really happy when she sniffs her, and she gets to see her, and she's happy and excited.
Right.
Like most dogs in real life are. I really like that about this movie.
Right.
That it kept the actual personalities of dogs in the movie true to form.
Right.
Because, you know, animals love kids.
Right.
Dogs love kids. And it wasn't like, oh my gosh, there's a dog, I'm going to be gone. Like it's so apparent in the live action movie. And this one is like, oh.
Yes,
she's
it's very
a baby. Yes.
Yes. And then here, the only one that had an issue was Tramp. And I actually mentioned before, it's inferred that, you know, his owners kind of gave him away because they had a kid, and this is why he was saying throughout the film that once there's a baby's born, a dog gets kicked out and so forth. You're like, oh, your life's gonna change. And for Lady, you know, it really didn't. It's just there was not as much attention on her because the baby was on its way. It was coming. They were not at home as much. Emergencies and stuff. And that was really the only difference. When the baby came, they let her see the baby, and they were still just the same to her. So it was really no difference. It was just the aunt that was crazy and had the issues.
Yes. And the voice actors that they cast for these two characters, they were perfect. You remember them. They're memorable, I should say. They're very memorable. And the one who does Lady is perfect.
Right.
And the one who does Tramp is perfect. And all the other doggy friends were perfect. They just fit. They were spot on in whom they got. And they conveyed exactly the personalities and emotions and things that were supposed to be conveyed. So this is one of the best animated Disney movies ever. And it's been around a very long time. And it's just an example of the wonderful world of Disney, as it used to be called.
Right.
From decades ago.
And it's funny because when we looked at the runtime, it was hard to believe this was nearly 2 hours. It didn't feel like it was nearly 2 hours. It was such a fun movie. You love the songs, you love the characters, the atmosphere. It was just such a joy to watch that it doesn't feel like it's going on for 2 hours. But they've had movies that are shorter and feel like they go on forever. So this really has a testament to Walt Disney's vision and his talent and how, all his old movies can be watched and they're pretty much timeless. Even if they're in another time period, the stories themselves are timeless and you always remember whether you watch them once or a billion times.
And one thing that must be remembered when you're watching any of these older Disney movies is that it's a different time period. And the world was different, and the mores were different, and things that were acceptable were very different. And when you watch things in these older movies, you can't judge it by modern standards.
Right.
You have to just enjoy it in the way it was intended to be enjoyed. And if it's something that doesn't sit well because it seems to not be, because it isn't appropriate now and it wouldn't fly now, you've still got to understand that during the time this was made, it was acceptable. So
right.
You kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and enjoy the movie for what it is.
Right.
And kind of just look over things that, now it's just totally unacceptable.
Right.
Because it doesn't destroy the movie. This movie is absolutely wonderful, and it should be enjoyed as such.
Right. And like I said, the feel of it is always the same no matter what. There's always a joy when you watch a lot of these classic movies. This is definitely one of them. And all the iconic scenes that were in here were also really actually left in the live action movie. Even though that movie had changes in them, some key parts were kept in. That made the movie iconic, like the spaghetti scene.
Yes.
Of course, they kept
one
that
of the
in.
most famous scenes ever in animation here, in movie history, whether it's animated or live action. And one great thing about this movie is there's no death of any parents in this movie.
Right. And there's no dog catcher either out of the blue.
Yes.
They mentioned him, but he doesn't show up on screen, basically.
Yes. We know you've seen Lady and the Tramp. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Why do you still love it after all these years? Who's your favorite character? And if you haven't, oh my gosh, you got to see it now.
Yes.
Go to Disney Plus, give it a watch. You can find it on any streaming service. No, you can't find a streaming service. You can find it for sale on Amazon and anywhere.
Yeah.
And just enjoy the timelessness of this movie, and then let us know what you think in the comments below as well.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and notification bell updates on future podcasts and one-to-pause videos.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.